The world of K-drama has given fans countless love stories, but none have felt quite as real, as raw, or as deeply personal as the unfolding romance between Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun. Before we go any further, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another update on your favorite stars and their behind-the-scenes lives. Now, in a turn of events that fans only used to dream about, Lee Min-ho himself has stepped forward to confess something he has long kept close to his heart: his unwavering love for Kim Go-eun and his desire to build a future with her. For years, fans speculated, hoped, and imagined that the chemistry they saw on screen wasn't just acting. From their very first project together, Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun sparked conversations all across the internet. The way he looked at her, the way she laughed at his jokes, the quiet moments between them when the cameras were off, it all hinted at something deeper. Still, neither of them confirmed anything outright. Until now, in an intimate, heartfelt interview that aired just days ago, Lee Min-ho finally let down his guard. He didn't come dressed in designer labels or behind the polish of a scripted drama. Instead, he appeared as himself, vulnerable, honest, and filled with emotion. When asked about the woman who had most inspired him in recent years, he didn't hesitate. With a soft smile and eyes that held a story, he said, "It's Kim Go-eun. She changed everything for me." The admission was simple, but its impact was massive. Social media exploded with support, love, and a sense of long-awaited joy. But Lee didn't stop there. He went on to share how their connection had blossomed quietly, away from the cameras and the public eye. "We spent a lot of time just talking," he revealed. "Late-night conversations, sharing our fears and hopes with her. It was always easy. It felt natural." He described moments that made fans' hearts flutter. Picnics by the Han River when no one was watching, long phone calls during filming breaks, and small gestures that said more than grand displays ever could. But most telling of all was when he said, "She's the first person I've thought about building a life with, not just in fantasy, but for real." That statement alone confirmed what so many had suspected for so long. This wasn't a temporary fling or a product of a drama set. This was love, genuine, deep-rooted love between two people who understood each other beyond their public personas. Lee Min-ho's voice trembled slightly as he shared how Kim Go-eun had been his anchor during difficult times. "When my world felt chaotic," he said, "she was the calm, the person who reminded me of who I really am." Insiders close to the couple had hinted for months that something serious was unfolding behind the scenes. A longtime stylist for Lee mentioned that he'd been talking about settling down more often. "He started asking about family life," the stylist said. "Not in a distant way, but like he was really thinking about it." And her name always came up. Fans have noticed subtle changes in both of them. They've grown more comfortable in public, occasionally spotted in matching accessories or leaving events just minutes apart. But they've also remained fiercely protective of their privacy, a decision that now makes perfect sense. As Lee explained, "We didn't want outside noise to define what we had. It was too precious for that." As his confession continued, he spoke candidly about what the future might hold. "Marriage is something I never rushed into," he said. "But with her, it feels like the right path. Not because society expects it, but because I can't imagine growing old with anyone else." That single line made headlines across the globe. Articles, fan pages, and entertainment shows picked up on every word, dissecting the emotion in his voice and the depth of his message. Even fellow actors chimed in, some congratulating the couple privately, others posting subtle yet supportive messages on social media. One mutual friend wrote, "It's always been obvious to those who really knew them. I'm just glad the world knows now too." Kim Go-eun herself hasn't made an official statement, but fans have noticed her wearing a new piece of jewelry on her ring finger in recent public appearances. Whether it's a promise ring, an engagement ring, or just a meaningful token, it's become symbolic of a love story that continues to bloom in front of our eyes. Sources close to both stars reveal that the couple is considering moving in together, if they haven't already. One insider commented, "They've been talking about building a home. Not just a house, but a space where they can just be themselves. Somewhere far from the flash of cameras and the pressures of fame." The confession marks a turning point not just in their relationship, but also in how the entertainment world views love in the spotlight. Lee Min-ho's willingness to speak from the heart has opened a door that many others were too afraid to even knock on. He proved that love doesn't have to be hidden to be protected. It just has to be respected. More than anything, this moment is a celebration. A celebration of love, of truth, and of two people choosing each other not just in private, but now publicly. Fans from every corner of the globe are flooding social media with messages of support, creating artwork, writing poems, and even organizing online celebrations in honor of this monumental step in Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun's journey. Even more touching was the way Lee concluded his interview. He looked directly into the camera and said, "If you're lucky enough to find someone who feels like home, never let them go. I found my home in her." That sentence alone sent shockwaves through the fandom, with many calling it one of the most heartfelt celebrity confessions of all time. As the news continues to spread and the internet fills with tributes to their love, it's clear that this is just the beginning of a new chapter. The chapter where fairy tale meets reality, and two of Korea's brightest stars step forward into a future built not on drama scripts or staged moments, but on something real. They've shown us that love, when nurtured with honesty, patience, and mutual respect, can grow even under the brightest spotlight. And as fans, we're not just watching this story unfold, we're cheering it on every step of the way. So whether wedding bells are just around the corner or still a quiet dream between them, one thing is for certain: Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun are walking into the future together, hand in hand, heart to heart. And while the public's excitement hasn't slowed down, neither has the love between Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun. Just days after his heartfelt confession, close sources shared that the two were seen enjoying a quiet dinner at a private restaurant in Seoul. No cameras, no fanfare. Just two people deeply comfortable with each other, sharing a meal like any other couple in love. Witnesses described them as radiant, smiling often, leaning in close during conversation, and never once distracted by their phones or the world around them. What stood out most was the way Lee Min-ho looked at her, as if he was still in awe, even after all this time. It wasn't the gaze of a superstar or a co-actor. It was the look of someone who had found his person and couldn't believe his luck. Meanwhile, Kim Go-eun's quiet presence has continued to shine with grace. While she's remained silent on the confession, her eyes tell their own story. At a recent film festival appearance, reporters noticed her wearing a small charm on her bracelet, the same charm Lee Min-ho was spotted with months ago. A subtle nod, perhaps, to their shared journey. And if there's one thing we know for sure, and just when fans thought they couldn't love the headlines, an exclusive built on real connection, Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun, and a real future they're choosing together. Attending a quiet dinner with close friends. All we can do is smile, support, no red carpet, and wait for what promises to be an even more smiling at each other like the rest of the world didn't exist. As they left the restaurant, Lee gently wrapped his coat around Go-eun's shoulders, whispering something that made her laugh softly. It was a simple moment, but it spoke volumes. Proof that what they shared was real, grounded, and full of warmth.